Finally, tonight, we would be remiss if we didn't hear from someone whose entire livelihood is the future, with all that it entails: demographic and societal shifts, technological disruptions like AI, government and environmental changes. Dr. Cindy Frewen is particularly apt choice, as she not only is a renowned futurist who teaches the Design Futures Workshop and Social Change at the University of Houston graduate program, she's also an architect.
Using her unique skill set and personal interest, Dr. Frewen writes and speaks on urbanization, future cities, and the intersection of people, technology, and the environment. We're honored to have her address us tonight on how she sees the next generation running our cities and communities and providing housing that is affordable, accessible, and sustainable. Please welcome Dr. Cindy Frewen.
Hello, hello. All right, thank you so much. So I'm very happy to be here tonight. I have been delighted to work with the group this year, and in fact, the program that you see was the genesis of a lot of conversations with Tom and Mary Jane, and so I appreciate you inviting me, and tonight has been completely inspiring, so thank you for welcoming me here. So, A Tale of Two Futures, Affordable Housing 2050. You know what it was. It was the worst of times, and it was the best of times. All right, city on fire, the worst of times. Here's how it happens. In a complex world, post-normal is the new normal. Post-normal means everything's dynamic, it's interconnected. Change has got ripple effects. You can't do just one thing. It's emergent, it's full of uncertainties. And in housing development, business as usual, which we also call the extended present, just today, only we think faster, better. That sort of present prevails. We don't change anything, we just keep doing what we're doing. The housing market collapsed with the weight of all the unpaid rents and unpaid mortgages. McMansions are the new suburban blight. Urban ruins serve as a shelter for the unhoused and for gangs. Walled communities employ armed guards, robots, and AI. They effectively are in fortresses for the wealthy. Increasingly, people add hardware to their bodies. This is in 2050 now, so 25 years ahead or so. And they augment their brains, so they become what we call transhumans. Some people call it a new species. Robots have developed emotional intelligence, and now they share our homes, our streets, and work side by side with us. Like headphones did to sound in the 2020s, each person sees like a totally different reality through these high-tech contact lenses and through glasses. Some choose to see like a lush paradise, others choose to see a London street or a Paris street. It's all virtual, visually camouflaging cheap, neglected actual buildings. We don't even share a common existence as we walk down the street. The population aged. Many are staying in their mega houses, unable to afford any alternatives. Communication and internet networks were hijacked. Sadly, many families and friends are not even able to keep track of their older loved ones. Extreme climate events caused a continual drain on poorly prepared communities. The South and the East Coast are hit with massive flooding. Consequently, parts of Miami, New Orleans, and New York are abandoned. The center of the country suffers from heat and drought, and the West and Southwest endure frequent power brownouts, water shortages, and wildfires. In 2050, a nation without safe, affordable housing or social solidarity collapses into chaos. The Great Depression was over a century earlier, but now in the City of Fire, it's back and it's unrelenting. City of Heart, January 1, 2050. Here's what we can do. After the difficult decades of the 2010s and 2020s, another global pandemic, multiple wars, ongoing climate disasters, threats to the energy grid, crumbling infrastructure, and a near collapse of the American life, the heroic millennials and the resilient Gen Zs are now in control. They deeply understand the threats and opportunities of the AI world, so they push environmental change, reskilling, digital technologies. Their goal, the entire country is a high-quality blue zone for happy, healthy, long lives. They believe everyone deserves a home, affordable, sustainable, and smart in livable, walkable communities. With much faster construction methods, the modular and 3D printing, public and private resources invest in high-quality neighborhoods and housing. Community farming is everywhere. Edible landscapes are normal. Distributed water and renewable energy reduce household costs. People are retrained and make good wages, lower expenses, more income. Very few people are even struggling to make ends meet. Shared transportation using driverless cars and autonomous vehicles connect communities, jobs, and services. This is another way of reducing household costs. Making commutes productive and fun. Parking lots and wide roads can now be adapted to other uses. Housing, parks, and mixed use. In the City of Heart, everyone has affordable, livable, and sustainable housing. So these are two scenarios, and either one is possible. We're at a turning point, and we use these images to know what we should be doing today. If we do everything wrong, we end up in a city on fire. If we do things right, we end up in a city of heart. So we plan against the terrible outcomes, and we aim towards the aspirational futures. America's not alone in its struggle with affordable housing. It's a problem across the world in developed nations. Only 2 cities have managed. They're also among the most livable cities in the world. Vienna, anticipating the looming problem in the 1990s, they transformed their housing to be affordable for all, and now 62% of the residents live in affordable housing, which coincidentally is about the amount of affordable housing we need here today. That's about how many people are cash-strapped by their housing costs. In addition to affordability, Helsinki decided that housing is a right, and they eliminated homelessness. Homelessness in Europe is almost as bad as here, or maybe even a little worse, 700,000 people. They call it housing first. Once safely sheltered, people can actually focus on health and work issues. These 2 cities use a similar, simple set of rules. One, they build mostly affordable housing, high quality in the very best places. They subsidize development instead of rent. They're financially creative, and they let people stay even when they start making more money. So consequently, multiple generations and mixed incomes live side by side. They support each other, and it takes about a generation to make that sort of turnaround. It's not fast. In the US, we've created a housing crisis. It's not just the lack of residential construction, which is a terrible problem. People say we need 7 million more. I would say we need 20 million more. It's at historic lows we haven't seen for over 100 years when we're a quarter the size we are now. Sprawl, zoning barriers, low wages, NIMBYism, blight, crime, poor urban education, all of these things are interconnected and they're feeding on each other. To turn this housing crisis around, first, we need to unify all the stakeholders, establish communication channels to work together. This happened during the pandemic. There were some unifications in mental health that went far to get new resources blended together. Convene them all to create a shared vision. It's a big process to figure out where you want to go and how to get there. Find common ground. Build public knowledge. The knowledge and data is sort of a mess, and trying to figure out what's the problem can take weeks or months. That shouldn't be. People should know that there's this crisis going on. They think it's a shortage of housing for ownership. It's a lot more than that, as you know. Then you create a compelling narrative, though. Here's the crisis. Here's why it's happened, and here's what we're going to do about it. Make it about more than just housing, because it is about more than just housing. This is about America. All of America needs a rebuilding process. All of these things are in trouble. The new American dream includes smart, climate-ready, well-located, good quality, and most of all, affordable housing. What will we see? What will we leave our children and grandchildren, and their children and their grandchildren? We must set our sights higher and reinvent the American dream as a land of opportunity and community. There's two parts to the American dream. We need them both. Because tomorrow will not be like today. It'll be extraordinary, and at times it's going to be shocking, and by today's standards seem completely ridiculous, but it depends entirely upon us. Is our legacy the city on fire or the city of heart? Thank you very much.